Midterm election records being broken across the country. We'll take a look at the numbers and what is driving voters to the polls as early voting is well underway. Plus, reality TV star Karamo lending his voice to efforts to motivate more people to vote. Why he says empathy is important for black voters. That's all ahead on Our World. Welcome to Our World, I'm Stephen Walker. The 2022 midterms are almost here, and more than 21 million Americans in 46 states have already voted. That's according to a tally from groups Edison Research and Catalyst. Texas is leading the pack with nearly 3 million votes cast, followed by Florida with 2.8 million. New polling from New York Times and Siena College finds that races for Senate in Georgia, Arizona and Pennsylvania. The midterm election on November 8th could come down to how people vote in key communities, including women, the black community and the LGBTQ+ groups. Reality TV star Karamo recently sat down with former Danity Kane singer Dawn Richard as part of the Hip Hop Caucus Respect My Vote campaign. They talked about the black vote, the younger generation and the current political climate.
Because we are having a Respect My Vote campaign, we're talking about the importance of voting. That's why we have you here. But I want our culture to know how powerful our voice really is. And I wanted your perspective specifically to even sit down with you because it's really interesting to be a parent right now.
Yeah.
And not only be a parent, but be a person of the LGBTQIA+ community as well. Mm-hmm. You have two black boys. We've seen incredible harm with police brutality. Mm-hmm. We've seen for black men. So how do you raise that? And then school shootings and what Uvalde just was, and just having a child go to school in this time. I'm asking and speaking of all this because I want to know how important it is to vote right now. Yeah. How do you feel as a voter? Are you registered?
Of course I'm registered,
Are
yes.
You registered?
Of course,
okay,
yes.
You're a registered voter.
Yes.
So then what does it mean for you to vote right now in this climate?
It's super important. But I want to say, you went back and you were talking about our voice as a community and my son's voice, because I realized something, that my sons felt like they had a voice in so many areas, but not in politics.
Ooh, that's powerful. How old are they, by the way?
My sons are 25 and 21 now.
So they're right on newly voters.
Yes,
right.
Newly voters. But when they were 18, because I registered them both at 18, took them through the process, both of them gave me a lot of pushback. Yeah. And now this is after watching their father be in politics, lobby legislators, go to Congress. I work with President Barack Obama.
This is you being
involved
in
they've seen it.
Yes.
And both of them said that no one cares. This don't matter. This system is, it is what it. There was always a something, and I just realized, I was like, so you don't think that your voice matters? You don't think that what you have to say is worth enough? And it broke my heart. And I realized I had to reflect, and I was like, well, I guess I was that way. And I guess just as black people or people of color, we are taught very early on that when it comes to systemic things, that we don't have power, so why even try? Why even go through it? Why even go through the hassle? Just survive and deal with it.
And that's part of voter suppression as well.
That's part of voter suppression. They use it. You know what I mean? They know, they're like, oh, we're going to tell them their vote doesn't matter, so they're not going to get up and fight for it. And so it was me literally building my children's self-esteem up. And this might seem weird when we're talking about respecting our vote. It was me telling my sons to respect their voice first, so that they could understand how to respect their vote.
I think that's real. And you honestly, I think for this time and where we are, it is imperative that they know that.
Exactly. We are still vulnerable, and we must fight. Like, our rights are always constantly being challenged.
By a thread, right?
It's by a thread.
You guys, it's like they're saying, you guys, we'll give you a little, but know that at any moment we can take it away.
Back.
It's like that level of uncomfortability that we have to live in as black people, as people of color, as women, as people who are of the LGBTQIA+. We are constantly struggling to, we can bask in our rights, but we're like, will they be there?
The first time I learned what an act was, not a law. And I was like, so this...
They playing with us.
They playing with us?
They playing our face.
They playing with us in our face.
They playing in our face.
And we really just be over here like, oh, listen, Listen.
They're trying to get us.
I mean, like, literally, I'd be in school saying, we got the Civil Rights Act. Not law.
Nah, they do.
Not law.
It's this.
Like,
I'm
like,
it's cute. It's a cute
these
moment.
things, like, through education, you're like, oh my gosh, like, they're really playing with us on a thread.
Yeah.
And so it's important that we are involved and that we are constantly lending our voice, our talents, and fighting.
Yeah.
And it's something that we cannot take lightly.
No, you said it. You're playing in our face. And again, one of the reasons why everyone was like, why would you go back? You know, like, why would you go into Hip Hop Caucus? Why go social as an artist? Why go there? I am so honored to be with them because, again, it's education. You said it, information. I am learning why my voice is so important. As artists, as creatives, to me, Nina Simone said an artist should always be of the times. We have to speak of these things. We have to talk about why social issues are present into the way we move in our spaces. And I'm happy that culture is the forefront of Hip Hop Caucus.
Yes.
What I would love most is to say to you, thank you for your presence, what you have done for us as a community, what you are continuing to do. We are going to be watching you, the Karamo Show. Whenever we are tuned in. And beyond that, what can you tell other artists or other people like us coming from the South? Not advice, but more so just your experience, your journey. Speak to why it's so important to go out and vote, why it's so important to have your voice be heard.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I always try to remind people, and I remind myself constantly, is comparison is the thief of joy. And I think when we're talking about voting, we compare what we have, the rights we have, the things that we have, and we look at what others have. And we start to get defeated. And in that defeat, we steal our own joy, we steal our own voice, we steal our own power. And so I don't look at what anyone else has. I look at myself and say, well, what do I deserve? And by understanding what I deserve, it allows me to feel powerful enough to go out and get it. And I think it's important when we're talking about election cycles and understanding that whatever you feel like you deserve in your community, if you feel like there shouldn't be a pothole in your community, then you actually, once you know you don't deserve that, it gives you the power to know that you actually can make changes, that you actually can go out there and do the things. And that's what I constantly remind myself of when it comes to voting, when it comes to living, of first starting off with, what do I deserve? Is this what I deserve? And that's a hard question for sometimes when we've been beaten down so much, to realize I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to have police in my community that don't respect me, who don't speak my language. I don't deserve to have elected officials make decisions for me that don't support the schools that I know that I should have, that don't support the life that I want. I know that I deserve more, and thus I'm going to use my voice and my vote to get it. And that's what I want to leave people with. My name is Karamo, and I want you to respect my vote.
Thanks to Dawn and Karamo for that conversation. Make a plan to vote at respectmyvote.com. President Joe Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden hosted the children of first responders for Halloween. The President and the First Lady dished out candy to the kids of local firefighters, nurses and police officers to celebrate the spooky occasion. Over 5,000 kids and their chaperones joined on the South Lawn for this year's trick-or-treating in the President and First Lady's neighbourhood. This is the first time the Bidens welcomed guests for Halloween, as they were out the country last year. There is a long history of Halloween events at the White House, which began in the mid-20th century. The Eisenhowers were the first to decorate the White House for Halloween. Thank you for joining us for Our World. The Advocate channel is streaming now on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV and Android TV. You can also download our app on your Android and Apple devices.